And we're back. This is Alden Antonuci with another Extreme Power Hour podcast, where I've got a great friend of mine. Thanks for coming, Molly.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And Molly Whalen has Synergy life coach and business coaching.
Yeah.
And you've been through the hurdles on both, I hear.
I have.
And so I know a lot of people are wanting to dive in more into these amazing workshops that you've had going on.
Yes.
And one of the latest ones that you're doing and you're really trying to promote because you know it's going to change people's lives because it changed your life.
Correct.
Right? And that's up level your business, right?
Yes.
Isn't that what your workshop's called?
It is.
Oh, that's amazing. And so I know a lot of people are seeking to have more clarity and that unshakable confidence, which brings me to a great introduction of where you're going with this next.
Yes. Well, just to thank you for talking about the workshop that's coming up. It's on May 8th. It's from 11 to 2 p.m. And it's really geared towards women on this workshop. Other workshops host both men and women, but it's really getting that map to clarity and unshakable confidence. And there's 4 big parts of it. And I would like to talk to you about the first part because I think it's exciting, and we can talk about the other parts in future podcasts. But it's the vision of your business and what success looks like as part 1. Part 2 is what makes you different, because we're all uniquely different. And then part 3 is the right fit client. How many of us want our most favorite clients and attract those kinds of clients to our business? And number 4 is the growth edges on why we get stuck and what we need. And systems are vital to that. And we'll get into all of those.
Oh,
things.
amazing. Well,
yes.
Hey, let's not waste any time. Let's dive right in.
All right, let's do it. So the vision of your business and what it looks like. So many entrepreneurs know what's in their head on what their vision of their company is, yet they don't articulate it very well to their clients or to their employees. And so really setting in, who are you called to become? And really sitting with this, are you wanting to be an entrepreneur or an inventor, a CEO? Are you wanting to be a part of a support team? A sales manager, influencer, entrepreneur, intrapreneur, writer, producer. Who are you and what are you really called to become? And what is that passion? What do you yearn for, right? And then prosperity, understanding how much do you want to make? And how much do you want to give up your time to do it?
Right.
So
that sacrifice aspect of it.
Huge.
Because sometimes people just go so heavy on the business,
Yes.
they leave people behind, like their family and everything else that makes them important. Yes, they finally got the money concept, but at what cost?
At what cost? And so many people I've heard and those I've coached are like, I work 60 hours a week. And then on my quote unquote free time, I'm reading business books. And then my family is like, where are you? And they miss them. And there's this pressure from the family to be present. And then they're so exhausted that they just don't have time for themselves, that they have those frustrations. They're short-tempered. I mean, go down the list, right? And so really balancing how much time and how much money you want to make. And it's really interesting. Most people will overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 3 years.
Ooh. That's a good concept right there.
It is. So really thinking about what is logical and reasonable for you and what you're willing to give up to do that. And then sitting with, what do you want to create?
Right.
Really embodying this. What do you deeply yearn for? Right? What's the biggest possibility for you? And what does it mean for you and your family and your loved ones, your clients, your employees to create it?
Yeah.
Really sitting with
multiple levels.
It
right?
is.
And then Molly's on top.
Yeah.
And Molly's teaching others to be on top of it. Don't let it control you. You need to kind of control it. But at the same time, there is a way of putting it on cruise control. Once you dial in the process, if you can get people, process, and product, right?
Right.
And so if you can get those right people, that's clarifying the vision that you want those clients. And then if you can put the processes in place, you can set time back from 60 hours a week to even there's some books out there, a 4-hour work week, right?
Right.
If you can automate the
Which
process.
is amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And it does work.
Good.
If you have the right story, you have the right people,
Mhm.
game over. You are winning.
All right.
And you know when you're winning, when you're making ridiculous amount of money and you're like, how did I do that?
Right.
Like, you're like, I don't know if I was really worth it, but you're making
Right.
a ridiculous amount of money. And that's from having that success. And the biggest thing with it is knowing your next 15 moves, not one, not three.
Like playing chess.
It's huge. It
Yeah.
is. You have to know your next move. You have to know where your competition is. You need to know what your employees are doing and having that right team. Because if you don't have it, and so many of us will be like, oh, what's your next move? And they'll be like, yeah, I really don't know.
Right. Right.
And if you don't know, how do your employees know? How do your clients know? How does your team know? I mean, it falls apart.
You need to have the vision.
Correct.
You need to tell other people the vision.
Yes.
Because you don't want to lone wolf it, because that's what you've been trying to do.
Right.
And if everyone has the same vision, we're all going in the same direction.
Absolutely. And can you imagine if you say, okay, I want to get married and I want, let's just say me personally, I am married. So I don't want, I'm not looking for somebody, but let's just say that I was single and I want to get married.
Right.
And I say, okay, I want a guy that is over 5'8".
Right.
That's what I want.
That's it.
Think about how many millions of men
95% probably
are over 5'8", and are all of those my candidate? And probably not, right? There's certain things that I really wanted in a spouse,
so
right?
Hone it down.
So hone it down. And when we're so broad and we're like, everybody is my client, that's when you absolutely start to fail.
You brought up a good point. Is everyone your client?
Absolutely not.
Oh, so you just took that 95% we were just talking about, that's over 5'8", and now you're honing it down.
Now let's hone it down to the type of man I really want.
That, in my brain, market shares.
Yes.
So if we said there's 100% of market shares in Bozeman, because you're in the Bozeman area and you service Big Sky, Belgrade, in that area.
Livingston, all around.
Let's call it roughly 100,000 is on our population, generally speaking. And the market shares are 100% of 100,000. Of those 100,000 people that need house cleaning, how many of those percentage are actually your market shares and the ones that you actually want? Does that make sense?
It does. And so this is really interesting because over the 2 decades of owning Mountain Maids, I really honed in on our clients. When we first started, we would do anything. We do construction clean, VRBO, residential, vacation. I mean, you had a house, we would clean it. You have a building, we would clean it. And now I have honed it down to only residential cleaning, and personal vacation homes, not even VRBOs. And we rarely do construction cleans unless we're cleaning for, or a construction clean for a potential client who will utilize us moving forward. So we have narrowed the gap so much. And I was worried, like each time when the housing crisis crashed, we lost $100,000 overnight. When the pandemic hit, we lost 40% of our business overnight.
Wow.
And we changed our paradigm so quickly and so fast that we used to clean 7 days a week, and now we only clean 5. And we are making more money than we ever have before. Because when you start to hone in on your right fit client, which is another podcast, you really then become profitable. Your team can really hone in on the skills for those clients instead of saying, I clean for everybody.
Right.
It's really fascinating. And the more that I honed in, the more money we made, and the more I get out of it, the more money we make. So what does that tell you about? I have to do it alone. I can't, I'm invisible. So the more I get
Rome
out.
wasn't built by one person.
No.
Right. So I think to leave off this part 1.
Yes.
And if I was trying to give a quick summary, is obviously clarify your vision.
Yep.
Know thy client.
Yes.
Right? So thy vision includes, yes, I want to start a business. I want to make money. Okay, but hone it down. Am I servicing all of Bozeman? Is every client my client? And the answer is no.
No.
Hone that down.
Yes.
There's multiple categories. You mentioned residential, commercial, industrial, new construction, and I'm sure there's others, janitorial. There's other facets. And at the end of the day, you hone that down to say, you know what, this is most profitable.
Right.
This takes less stress off my shoulders, and it makes more money.
And it does.
And your employees are happier. They're not working on a Sunday night at 2 a.m. because you got that one job you wish you never got.
Right.
We all got those kind of clients.
I know.
So at the end of the day, is there anything else for this part one of this major series?
Well, the vision is critical because it's how you set up your business.
Right.
It's absolutely critical. Who you are, what your story is, what you yearn for, how much time, how much money, and then that is the base level then to expand on that. And if you don't have your why you're in business. So when I first started Mountain Maids, my why was because I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always wanted my own business. My why today.
I think you were always an entrepreneur at Spirit.
Yes.
You just haven't taken that thought process and put it into action.
Correct.
And now you're in the action category, and some of those things that you learned, the hard knocks life.
Yes.
Of those, and you're like, listen, I got the recipe for success.
Absolutely. But that honing in on the why you do it. Today, the reason why I own Mountain Maids is to empower my employees. That is it. And it's radically different than what I thought was my why. And your why is why others will follow you and why clients will buy from you.
And that flows right into part 2.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so stay tuned for part 2. Alden Antonuci with Extreme Power Hour and Molly Whalen.
Yes.
Stay tuned.